Hello, my YouTubers out there. This is your cameraman, Drebsky, for this new update video of the ones I got for this week's update for March 10, 2023. And today is Friday afternoon, and right now it's currently snowing out, a little rain snow. And before we start with these new things I got this past week, I have some little updates for you from my family member. You see, my father, Jeffrey Drebsky, he has some kind of a problem for his urine infection. So that's why lately, this past week, since Tuesday, it hurts really bad. My dad was peeing blood, and he ended up in the emergency room around Pottsville. And now they took him to surgery since Wednesday night all the way to Allentown. I don't know what the hospital it is, but it was in Lehigh Valley Hospital somewhere. I hope my dad's going to be okay. Yep, and that's why lately this week it's been so hectic. I couldn't get that much stuff, but it was an emergency. And also, on the other hand, here's like some little updates. One of the actors from the 60s, like Robert Blake he was in Proven Police in Cold Blood, that shows you that from my previous update, died at 89. Yeah, and used to be a member of those, the NGM little rascals from the 1940s, the crummy NGM ones, not the high roast ones. And tomorrow, it's going to be a St. Patrick's Day parade around Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Yep. I'm looking forward to go to the St. Patrick's Day parade. They didn't have that 3 years ago because of COVID-19. Yep. And these are the new things I got this week from the thrift store and this and that. And even from my Barnes & Noble bookstore and a couple of those books I got from the book sale or from the thrift store. Let's begin with one of the DVDs I got from when I was at the thrift store this week. Let's start with the complete 8th season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, 10 episodes with Larry David. I saw this back in 2011. I got all the other Curb Your Enthusiasm DVDs. Here's what the cover looks like. This DVD release came out from HBO Home Entertainment in 2012. The funniest show on TV. That's with Jeff Garlin, and I see Richard Lewis, and don't forget I like Susie Green. He sounds like Mae Bush in those Laurel and Hardy films from the 1930s. Believe you me, I'm a huge fan of Laurel and Hardy's and the Three Stooges shorts. Show you what this DVD looks like. Here's Larry David when he was a Statue of Liberty. Yep, here's one of the episodes. It's called Divorce, The Safe House. Pale Stack and Stand Chicken, Slippery Face, Vow of Silence, The Hero, The Bisexual, The Car Score, Mr. Salty, and finally, Larry versus Michael J. Fox, best known for Marty and Back to the Future films. Sorry about the quality of this camera, it's probably dying out, I don't know. I've been using this since this past summer. It's a pretty good DVD set, and here's another DVD I got. It's really another comedy. Here it is, The Best of Benny Hill. I got it for $5. It was like a % off when I was in the Barnes & Noble's bookstore. The Best of Benny Hill, the early years. It started during the 1970s. You know my dad likes Benny Hill. I like Benny Hill too. This DVD release was from Ryan Gates. And it was released in starting around 2010. But the early Benny Hills was 1974. 1974, the link is 87. Gotta we do love Benny Hill. Now I got some box sets of these Shirley Temple films. I got it in the thrift store the other day at the Salvation Army. I paid for the whole set for $15. Let's begin with the Shirley Temple's America's Sweetheart Collection DVD set. I don't mean the America's Singing Sweetheart of Jeanette MacDonald, Nelson Eddy. And this box set of the Shirley Temple films, I think it came out around 2006 somewhere. Let me start with this 10. Previously, I showed you some Shirley Temple DVDs of a colorized and black and white combo. Let's start with 1936, Captain January. This is the exact film Little Shirley did with Buddy Epson, Seeing the Codfish Ball. This is in colorized and black and white combo. This is a pretty good Shirley Temple film. It's just not one of my favorites. And here's another one for you on disc 11. Just around the corner, released in 1938. It has Bill Law was in there, Franklin Painborn, you might know him as the W.C. Phillips Bank Dick, and Bilbo Jingles Robinson. That's the last time Little Shirley dances with Bilbo Jingles Robinson in 1938. And this is a colorized black and white combo when she was 10 years old. The same year she did Little Miss Broadway with George Murphy and Jimmy Durante. I showed you that earlier on my other previous update videos that I did in the past. And here's disc 12, Susanna of the Mountains. A Little Shirley did when she was 11, co-stars with Randall Scott. And did you know another Shirley Temple film she did with Randall Scott in Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm in 1938? She did this film after she did The Little Princess, was filmed in Technicolor in that year, in 1939. But this is before she was about to do the part of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She ended up doing The Bluebird because The Bluebird was a flop in 1940. Yep. All the Shirley Temple DVD sets were kindly originally released in 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment. Now, let me start with Shirley Temple Collection Set 5. Let's start with Volume 13 in one of the later ones, like the 1940 The Bluebird, when she was 11, 12 years old. And did you know The Bluebird is not a successful movie because originally Shirley Temple wanted to do the part of Dorothy Gale for The Wizard of Oz. That's how she was under a 20th Century Fox contract. They couldn't put her into like the MGM film of The Wizard of Oz. So that's how Judy Garland got the role of Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz, and the Shirley Temple ended up doing The Bluebird. In this movie, co-stars with Gail Sondergaard, Eddie Collins, and even with Nadja Bruce. And this is filmed in part black and white at the beginning and mostly full Technicolor. This is the 2006 release of The Bluebird in 1940. This is before she did her final film called Young People in 1940, when she was 12 years old. The next one we have here is Volume 14 of her Shirley Temple DVD collection. That is The Little Princess, 1939. Her first film debut in Technicolor. Co-stars with Mary Nash. You might know her in Heidi. Arthur Treacher. That's the fourth time Arthur Treacher appeared in a Shirley Temple film. Ian Hunter. You might know him as King Richard in Robin Hood. Yep. See here now as one of the Indians. You might know him in Wee Willie Winky. Best known for Joker in the Batman series and appeared in the 3 Disney Dexter Riley films. See here Marrow. And this is not a public domain old film version of The Little Princess. This is kind of like the remastered. I showed you the VHS one on my previous update videos of The Little Princess when she looks for her missing father. But I do like Heidi the most. Heidi is one of my favorite Shirley Temple films. Now, I would take you back to the earlier days when she was signed the contract the days of 20th Century Fox. The early days used to be Fox films in the 1930s. Her first film for Fox was Stand Up and Cheer, when she sings Daddy Take a Bow with James Dunn. And did you know Little Shirley and James Dunn did other films together, like Bright Eyes and Baby Take a Bow. This is disc 15. Morton Baxter was in it, yep. And Stephen Feeks was in it too. Now we got the set volume 6 of her films. And this is early 2007 release from 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment DVD. Let's start with number 16. Here's the 1936 adventure of Stowaway, when she was hiding from those Chinese bandits when she got into the Orient cruise with Robert Young and Alice Faye. Arthur Treacher was in this movie too. Another good moment I like in this film when Little Shirley sings, "You got an S-M-I-L-E, and that's how I went for Christmas." Yep. This is a pretty good Shirley Temple film from 1936. I have this on VHS of the Shirley Temple, the Playhouse Video Collection series in black and white. Now I colorized, and here's number 17. 1937's Wee Willie Winky at the age of 8 or 9 years old. Directed by John Ford, it has also with Cesar Romero. Yep, and I do like Cesar Romero. The Joker from Batman and the Dexter Disney films. Yep. This is based on the book by Roger Kipling. Yep. Victor McLaren was in it as the Sergeant Macduff. You might know him in The Quiet Man and Princess and the Pirate. Yeah. And I have this also on VHS from 1989 from the Playhouse video series. Candid version of Wee Willie Winky. I gotta see what it looks like. And finally, last but not least, in the Shirley Temple DVD collection, we have number 18, her big and final Fox film in a series at the age of 12, Young People, that co-stars with Jack Oakley and Shara Greenwood or something. Yep. You might know Shara Greenwood appeared in a few Betty Grable films, and she was even in the musical Oklahoma in 1955. This is what the DVD looks like. Yep. Here's Young People, her final film in one of her Fox film series. That's when Little Shirley was leaving the Fox at the time during the early 40s. When she was too old to be like a child star. She was being a teenager. So there you have it, folks. That's all the Shirley Temple films on DVD. I showed you that in the previous update videos. And now we're going to move on from DVDs into books I got. Yep. Let's start with this little golden book of Mother Goose. Yep. It's a pretty rare book, but it was published in the year of 1957, but it was reissued in 1972. It's not a Disney version, that's for sure. Here's what it looks like. It's pretty rare. And now I've got something from Don DeNo's Little Man of Disneyland, or like the Little Leprechaun, since St. Patrick's Day's coming up. Published in 2023. It looks like the illustration was in the 1950s or 60s. There's a Dumbo there, yeah. It looks like François Belair and Pinocchio. This is pretty good. This book was published in 2013. Last but not least, before we close this update, we got 70 years at the movies. From the silent films to today's screen hits. This book was published, this is a hardcover jacket book published in 1988 by Certain Books, New York. Certain Books, New York. This is the contents of categories published in 1988. Let's begin with some things to find on there. From the silent era, the early days. They look like the days of the Keystone Cops and Fatty Arbuckle. Still in the silent era. The coming of sound back in the late 20s and early 30s since the jazz singer in 1927. There's the Marx Brothers in, the four Marx Brothers, going to be Coconuts, Animal Crackers, There's Day of the Races, 1937, when I had the three Marx Brothers. There's Ginger Alone, maybe with Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Umberto. There's the Bandwagon. There's Fred Astaire over in Finnegans Rainbow in 1968. Frank Capra's American Dreams, maybe from A Half a War Night. I think I see a comedian, Harry Landon, in it when he was with Hal Roach, and doing like one of the Columbia shorts in the 30s and 40s. Sergeant York with Gary Cooper. I think I see a picture of Bob Hope and caught in the draft in 1941. There's Bottoms Rock. Yep. And here's some syndicated films in the 30s or 40s. Picking Up Pieces. Yep. It's gotta be a Fallen movie. I think I see Humphrey Bogart in there. In The Lonely Place, that was made for Columbia in 1950. There are some epic films, or maybe foreign films. There's the cover of Cary Grant, like His Girl Friday. Yep. There's The Wild Bunch with William Holden and Ernest Baldwin in 1969. Whatever happened to Betty Davis and Joan Crawford? They didn't get along with each other in real life during the production. They hated each other. Easy Rider from 1969 with Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda, and Jack Nicholson. Meh, meh, meh. There's like the war, there's the films about the war during the days of like World War II. There's A Walkabout, I don't know who stars in it. That's not certainly with Clint Eastwood. The Last Picture Show, that's gotta be in the 70s or something. That's for Ryan O'Neal. Dark Star, see? That's gotta be in 75. There's The Scanners. That's a rare horror movie. I think I showed you that in my previous update video, and I got it on VHS. Robert De Niro and The Taxi Driver, directed by Martin Scorsese. Meryl Streep, my favorite one with Dustin Hoffman and Kramer vs. Kramer, 1979. There's Grease with Olivia Newton-John, Glenn Close and Michael Douglas in Fatal Attraction. There's Harrison Ford doing The Blade Runner, Tom Cruise in Top Gun, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Eddie Murphy in Trading Places, 1983. There's Mel Gibson doing like one of the Lethal Weapon films. I'm getting too old for this shit. I'm Danny Glover. Excuse me with my language. So there you have it, folks. That's for today's update for the ones I got this week from my thrift store, and one of them from the Barnes and Nobles, or one of them from the bookstore. I couldn't get a lot more this week because of a situation with my dad at the hospital. Yep. If you enjoyed this video, please comment or subscribe and ring the bell if you like this video or any other previous update videos I made. And I'll see you next time I give you more updates with more things I might get. And you just take care and enjoy this new update video. Bye, folks, and wish me luck with my dad getting better. Later, folks. Happy St. Patrick's Day.